Hey y'all, what is up? There is there has never been a time when my heart is heavier and honest to goodness more inspired than I ever have been in my life. I know that this is so soon to be looking at the silver lining of something horrendous happening, such as the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I never my intentions on this is not at all to ride a wave at the expense of somebody else. But my heart in this is honest to goodness because what God is already doing with the evil, horrendous thing that happened yesterday is so beautiful that I can't help but be inspired for it and try to honor somebody who lived and dedicated his life and put his life on the line for his calling and his message and to help others, not through being negative or even wanting to be right, but just to do right by people and help them see and think in a different perspective and even give them the opportunity for him to think in a different perspective. And that is something that's incredibly beautiful. And one thing I noticed is that a handful of people on my social media mentioned that they didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was before this happened. And that's not total surprise. I mean, to some of us, an influencer can be somebody that we know, and everyone's like, oh, you probably know so and so. You're like, I have no idea who that is, because honestly, we're all in our own little bubbles, and it feels like that person is super famous and everyone knows them. But oftentimes, that's not the case. And so that's the same in this scenario, in that if you're not in that circle of knowledge, you wouldn't be exposed to it. But I've already seen people being exposed to some of his really incredible debates that really can change the narrative that I believe is very faith forward, Christian and biblically based. And at the Academy of Functional Medicine, the Institute of Functional Medicine, we're very biblically based. And so that's not to add shame to anybody else or having a different perspective. That's just to say that I am very proud of somebody who puts their faith forward like that and has that mission. And those discussions are now being seen and spread even more so because of the horrific tragedy that happened. And while I do believe that that was from the enemy and it is spiritual warfare and it is a battle that the enemy won, he is not going to win the war. And that is one of the beautiful ways the Lord is taking this and making it into an incredible thing, because people are having discussions now around that. And the other way that I believe that I just, like I said, my thoughts in making this video was it's too soon. It's too soon, Lauren, to find like a silver lining. But at the same time, I don't want to lose my passion, because I know from experience, if you don't take action, whenever you have that passion, your dreams will fall to the gray. Your dreams will fall to never actually happening, or you'll think back on and think, it probably wasn't that good of an idea, or why did I think that was so great? And I have personally been letting some of my true things that I feel called and led to share from the Lord, I've been inhibited in speaking about them because of the opposition. And his story just resonates so strongly with me now that I see where I'm falling in mine, and I don't want to die with my message inside of me, because Charlie Kirk did not. He lived a very short life and did more with his life, whether for or against his missions. He did more with his life than most will do in their entire lifetime. And that we have to take every moment that we have in order to build up the kingdom, because that's what honestly, truthfully matters at the end of everything. Because each one of our lives are all a vapor. And while none of us want to see such a beautiful flame being put out early, we also don't want to not learn from that and to not grow from that and to not be inspired by it. And I am just insanely inspired here recently from it, and at the same moment just still devastatingly saddened by it. But my purpose in this video is to also hopefully help others today who maybe you don't know what that purpose is, or maybe you know what it is, but you don't know how to get it out there. Maybe you even possibly know how to get it out there, but you don't know how to overcome your own barriers to doing that. And that is what I want to help others with, but I'm not trying to make this video about that. I want anyone here to just declare, what is it that you are called to share, and to share that calling? What purpose is it that you have at a deep level? Just comment below, wherever you're seeing this feed from, and comment below, like, what is your passion and why is that your passion? I'll share, for example, mine and what I have been inhibited on. And then the next thing I want you to comment is why you're inhibited in that way. I overcame my fear of rejection and my fear of failure and all that kind of a few years ago, I fully squashed that and exterminated it. And that's where I've been able to grow my own business and do those kind of things. But one of the messages that I know that I'm leaving inside of me, to a small degree, to a large degree, to a small degree, I have been teaching on it and I help other practitioners do this, but I have not been making content on this, and I've been hiding it from the church. And it's because I'm afraid of how much backlash this is probably going to have. And that is just simply that I know from my experience and my studies in functional medicine and my practice in functional medicine that the enemy is 100% in our food. We are using it to celebrate with dyes and chemicals and gluten, and we're things that are, the right kind of sort. It's a healthy gluten, fine, but it's not on the shelves that stay forever, and the way that gluten has been processed and everything. And all of these different things and chemicals in our body are killing us. And I know that that procrastination is the assassination to your destinations. Eileen Wilder. And if I procrastinate on this and I wait to have it perfected, or if I wait to make sure that I'm doing this the right way, or that it's in the right light, or that somebody receives it the correct way, I'm never going to have that time to really practice. So I know that I'm going to get some backlash from that. And I know that there's going to be learning from it. And maybe I need to verbalize and be able to reach people in a different way. But I know that this started, the fight on our health and our nation that's going on right now, it started in the garden with the tree of knowledge. And it has infiltrated and completely consumes our churches. I see pastors who say that they struggle with anxiety and depression, but they don't honor the temple. I see women and men, and they not to shame anybody. Most people don't know the correlation between their gut and their brain. Most people don't know the correlation between their body and their brain and that huge impact that it has. They don't know that MSG in and of itself can cause ADHD, and that MSG is in most all foods across the nation in fast food restaurants. They don't know that it causes IBS. They don't know that IBS is tied to tons of other diseases and autoimmune, and that it's not only affecting our mind, but it's increasing the development of autoimmune disease and chronic diseases that can be reversed, but we're living with medications that cause symptoms and then masking those symptoms with more medications instead of actually healing the person. And don't get me wrong, conventional medicine has its place. Conventional medicine can be a great thing, but we just shouldn't lead when it comes to chronic disease with covering it up. We should lead with getting rid of it out of the body. And if we are not honoring the temple, we are not optimizing our body and our mind. We cannot optimize our spirit. We cannot have the impact, whether it's from early death, or it's from suffering, or you're not able to think clear and brain fog, or not being in the right spirit, feeling agitated and depressed. That's not going to help you serve anybody. So we have to honor the temple so we can honor our mission. And I see that being completely ignored and even kind of laughed at. And, it's kind of funny how, we'll binge on a whole bunch of bad for you stuff and we laugh it off because we have that rooted shame, which also came from the garden. And that's another component of it, that we have to get rid of that shame. It's not about being shameful. It's about being aware and taking action and knowing what you're up against, and knowing that this is a hard thing to overcome. Food is addictive. It has been designed. The companies were bought off by the cigarette companies. They used the same kind of brain chemistry to addict people to food. It's nothing to be shameful if you're trapped in that, but it is something to be aware of and to quit shunning this like it isn't affecting us, because it is. And so that's my mission that I know that I have been silent on, because I'm afraid of the backlash. Because I don't want people to think, I don't like what Kirk's gone through, right? Has gone through. And even in this time when we should be remorseful and respectable to one another, people are twisting what he has said before into horrendous things. And, there's a fear internally in us. And I'm afraid of people seeing and twisting what it is that my heart and my desire is on this, because it's not to shame anybody. I share my story all the time that I used to binge on sugar like it's nonstop. And I use the excuse that, well, I'm still skinny, I'm working out enough, so I can do this. And that is not the right mindset. I just didn't know better. It wasn't a moral issue for me. It's because I didn't know better. But once you learn these things and you learn how to implement and you learn how to correct the body, so you can correct cravings and not just be, it's not a willpower thing. You can start to heal the temple, and you can start to feel good about that. And you can start living your purpose and doing the things. And people ask me all the time, how do you have so much energy to do so many things? I'm like, honestly, I honor the temple. Like that is the number one thing. And so I've optimized myself as absolutely best as I can. I'm not even that perfect, I have to be honest with you. But I do the best that I can. And I'm always striving to do better. I'm not 100% as healthy as I would like to be in every aspect, but I'm working on it. I'm getting better and better every single year. And that's my goal. And just having that true reverent heart to honor that. And so I would love to know, comment below, please, what is it that is your passion? What is it that is your thing that you have been called to serve, because your time is short? And by short, I mean, your time might be 2 or 3 years. Your time might be 80 or 90 years. And both are short. Both can take a while for you to land the purpose and fulfill the mission that you have. The Lord knows each one of our days. And the truth is that if you have longer, maybe that was because you had a bigger mission that you were supposed to fulfill, and you needed that extra time, but you didn't follow through with it. And if your life is short, maybe your mission is supposed to be quick. And that is the way that the Lord has designed it. But you can have a bigger impact, but you won't have an impact because you maybe have the opportunity for a bigger impact. You might have a shorter runway. That door might close sooner for you. None of us know which that is. So you have to start taking action today. I promised myself today that I was going to start speaking on this. And so this was the quickest way that I could. I have plans for bringing out more content in this going forward, and really exposing each one of the chemicals that are in our foods, and exposing each one of those and how it is very biblically based, because this is all written. It is all in the Bible already. We are just not ignoring it purposely. We are simply not tying it together and not being in knowledge of it. And probably because we don't want to. We have enough going on. We don't want to also have to worry about this part of it. And I get that. But that is where I'm also going to start pulling this into to ministry and helping other people be able to overcome that, because that really is what Health Revival Care, my family practice, is all about, and the Academy of Functional Medicine. So comment below, what is your mission? What has been stopping you? Why is it your mission? And declare that how are you going to overcome that, right? How are you going to go forward? And don't let perfectionism stop you. That's the number one thing. Don't lie to yourself that you can't do this, because self-deception is the worst deception, because it is the inconception of the things we don't desire. And your addiction to perfection is no more than your permission for submission. Don't permit yourself to submit a life that doesn't fulfill what it's called to fulfill. Many blessings, everybody. I hope to see y'all soon.